Okay everybody, this is Mooney Dashcam. Today we're in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. We're going to be talking about the murder of Wild Bill Cutolo, the underboss of the Colombo crime family. We're going to the exact house that he was murdered in 1999. So let's flip this around and get into it. Okay, so the address that we're going to is 1968 76th Street in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at mooneydashcam. I post in there pretty much every single day. Any crime scene photos that can't go on the channel, go on the Instagram. Also, don't forget to leave suggestions for future videos in the comments. Like I always say, I appreciate that. I get a lot of inspiration from it. Also, hit the notification bell so you guys know right away when I post a new video. Okay, so let's rewind a little bit into Wild Bill's life before we end up at where his life ended. So, he fights in the Colombo War from the very beginning. He fought for the Vito Arena faction, supposedly killing 3 people and surviving multiple murder attempts because he was very high up. He was a captain in the war. Him and his crew get arrested and they spent time at Metropolitan Detention Center, the very famous MDC in Manhattan. Him and 6 of his crew members. Apparently they ran the prison, ran the guards, took over the TV room, put up a sign that said Italians only. They made a life in there for themselves. In December of 1994, they all got acquitted of all the charges. One charge being racketeering, the other one being murder. So they're all let back on the street in 1994. Now that they're back out, the Persico faction won the Colombo War, as we all know. Carmine Persico, who ended up going to jail for a very long time. So his son, Alley Boy, was the one running things. So he's demoted from captain down to soldier. And then through his toughness, he's very charismatic, and people had a lot of respect for him because he did a lot for the Colombos during the Colombo Wars. He made his way back up to captain under the opposite faction's leadership. So that says a lot about what kind of gangster he was. He was a very, very old school type gangster. Anything you read about him, it's very clear that comes through. Then in 1999, he's made underboss to Alley Boy Persico. It was kind of a peace gesture of sorts to squash the beef that they used to have. And since he had a lot of power, people liked him. You don't become the underboss with people hating you, you know? Then Alley Boy gets sent back to prison for a gun charge, making him fear that Wild Bill would take over the family. Since, like I mentioned 5 times already, he had a lot of respect. He had balls to do it. He would be the one to go after it and try and take the family over. So Alley Boy passes down the order to kill Wild Bill to Thomas Schatz Gioeli, who passed the message silently to someone in his crew named Big Dino Calabro by placing 4 fingers over his heart in front of his Massapequa church. So he actually ordered the murder on church property. So he is called to meet Alley Boy, at least that's what he's told at the time, to meet with other heads of the Colombo family to discuss who knows what business, you'd assume. So, May 26th, 1999, a mechanic drops him off. His car was in the shop at the time, that's why the mechanic dropped him off. I read at a bunch of spots he was dropped off at Bayside Park. I could not find a Bayside Park besides for in Jersey, so that didn't make much sense to me. Other articles say that he was last seen on Shore Road and 92nd Street in Bay Ridge. So he goes there to meet Alley Boy. Alley Boy is not there. So Tommy Schatz and Big Dino Calabro pick him up from the park and take him to quote-unquote meet Alley Boy. We'll be over here pretty shortly. Now, they pull up to Big Dino's cousin, Little Dino Saracino, his parents' house, which is right about here. Oh, look, we can pull up right across the street. Look at the hydrant. Meant for me right here. All chromed out. So just imagine back in the day, Wild Bill, Tommy Shots, and Big Dino pulling up onto this block, coming down this way. Oh, say hi to the truck. Pulling up here. Now, Wild Bill is a smart guy, very street smart. So he had a feeling something was wrong. They pull up in front of this house, this tan house, the second one in, and they get out of the car, and he goes, "Allie's here, right? Where are we going?" He did not know he was being led into what they nicknamed as the dungeon. Now, to be fully transparent, it's not exactly clear if it was this side on the left or that side on the right that was the parents' house. But one of these in the basement, and now around the back, this was like a, what do you call it? A drop-off point. For any money that had to be dropped off, there was a plastic chicken on the railing by the back steps that people would leave money into. Just so Dino didn't have to be there and it could all be picked up. So, yeah, this was nicknamed the dungeon because they did kill people here before. Now, Big Dino said he went in, I followed him, I pulled out my gun and shot him in the head. Now, he was shot 2 times in the head in the basement of this house. Probably led around the back, who knows possibly how it could have went. So it's 1968 and 1966 here. It's a very nice neighborhood, actually. Hey, how are you? There was I'm sure you might know, there was an old mob murder here. There was an old mob murder here. Wild Bill Cutolo. Wild Bill Cutolo, the old mobster, was killed in his house. So I'm here doing a video on it. Yeah.
How many years ago? 30 years ago?
1999. Yeah, long time ago in the basement over here. Pretty crazy.
Now you find that?
No, I've known this for a while, but I came here to do a video on it. I have a whole YouTube channel where I do all the stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. Were you around when this happened?
I knew the guy.
Oh, really?
I know the guy that owned the house. He's in jail, though.
Yeah, because his son probably came into the house, right? And he got arrested. Because it was his parents' house at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, so Dino Saracino.
Yes.
That's the guy's name, yeah. Little Dino. So you knew him?
Yeah, well, his son,
Okay.
Frankie, works with me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do they still own the house or no?
No, they sold it.
They sold it,
Chinese
okay.
Guy. That guy owns the house.
Gotcha.
The guy next door bought the house.
So this was the house for sure?
That was the house.
Because it wasn't clear if it was this one or this one.
That's the one.
This is the one. That's nuts.
Right in the boiler room that did it.
Yeah, they killed like a few people in the basement here.
Well, I know, I think it was 3.
3, that's what I believe, yeah. I think you're right. You know more than me. You should do this video.
Listen, I live here since 1995.
There you go. Okay, so you know.
I know.
You know firsthand.
I know it.
Yeah, that's funny.
So you
cool.
want to put it on YouTube?
YouTube, yeah.
When?
My probably Monday it'll go up. My channel name is mooneydashcam.
Mooney?
Mooney, Mooney, my last name, and then dashcam. So I drive around in that truck. Yeah. So if you want to check it out, I got all these mob murders. I'm sure you probably know some of the stories from back in the day.
All of them.
You got it. Yeah, exactly.
Take care, man.
You too. That's why you got to talk to people. Okay. Shot him 2 times in the head. Oh, so it was this side. If you didn't gather that from what I was saying before with the man. So he continues saying, after he shot him in the head, he let out a whoa, fell backwards into the closet. They immediately take off his beeper, watch, and other jewelry, and they mix it into a bucket with concrete, and they throw it off a Brooklyn pier. So that was very cool. That guy was here since 1995 and actually knew Little Dino. Now, all of this is going on while Jackie DeRoss, the future underboss, right after Wild Bill was killed, he sat with Cutolo's whole crew at Wild Bill's social club, including Wild Bill's son. So he sitting there with all of them while this is going on, knowing full well what's going on to the guy's son. And then Jackie had to fake being surprised when Wild Bill never showed up. Then the very next day, they actually went to Wild Bill's now widowed wife, Marguerite, and started asking her where Wild Bill kept the money. So I would actually assume that he was taken down the driveway, because when you look at pictures, I'll put up a picture of where the plastic chicken was. It was on the railing to the basement in the backyard. So I assume that was the quick way into the basement. It was also Little Dino's old room as well. So he was killing mobsters, 3 mobsters, confirmed by the guy down the block, in his old room. As crazy as that sounds. So after they take all his stuff and put into the cement bucket, his body is wrapped up in garbage bags, hog-tied and buried in Farmingdale in a wooded area near an industrial complex. Got one last nice shot of the building. If you want to see the wooded area that he was buried, I have 2 separate videos where I go to that wooded area. I'll leave them in the description. There at the end of each video is when I'm in the wooded area. So for the longest time, officials thought his body was at sea, but then someone who cooperated with the FBI said the body was in Farmingdale. So October 6, 2008, the body was found. It was found still wearing loafers, which the old-timers in the mob see that as a sign of disrespect. I don't know how respectful it is taking their shoes off after you murder them, but leaving them on is apparently disrespectful. That shows you right there why you be respectful and nice to everyone you talk to, because that guy lived down the block since 1995. So he was around here for, I believe, all 3 murders, maybe only 2 of them, that went on in that basement. So he knew all of this. And you could tell he knew a lot more than he was telling me. I don't like to aim the camera at people. I don't like to put them on camera without their permission, especially people like that. And I could tell he knew a lot more. When I said, a lot of stuff you probably know, he said, I know all of it. And he had a cigar in his hand. Very funny. I will show you pictures of that basement. There's post-it notes on the walls of the basement. That's the spot they sprayed chemicals to try and get any type of evidence that they could off the walls of the basement. But the reason why they didn't get any evidence from there is because I believe a year after they killed Wild Bill there, they redid the whole basement. So they totally renovated it, and none of that stuff is there anymore, so there'd be no way to collect that evidence. So, from all this and other crimes, Alley Boy and Jackie DeRoss got life in prison. Little Dino did 50 years. Big Dino, who cooperated, who testified, and that's why we have a lot of this information, did 11 years. And then Tommy Schatz did 18 and a half years for conspiracy, because I don't think there was much solid evidence on him being involved. Solid enough to get him 18 and a half years, though. And like most of these gangsters, he tried to get out during COVID, and that was denied. So, hope you enjoyed that little run-in with a neighbor, which I always enjoy, even if it goes smoothly or bad. Either way, hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.